Right, let's go.
Oh, I need to rename mine.
Oh, yes, please. Good morning, everybody.
Morning, everybody.
How are you today? Well, I hope. We're all getting good at this now, aren't we? It would be great if, as we have been doing, if any of you are feeling brave enough to shout out your name and the company that you're representing, just whilst we're letting everybody in.
Hi, I'm Joan Hanks. I'm the events coordinator for the St Andrews Ladies Luncheon Club, and I'm also the Eastern Branch Director of AGTO.
Fantastic. Hi, Joan. Nice to see you. Thank you for joining us. Anybody else?
Hi, it's Kim Hallett here from Kim Hallett Consulting now.
Hi, Kim. Nice to see you.
And you?
To see your face.
Hi, Kim. Nice to see you.
Oh, hi, Flo. Hi.
Hi, I'm Frances Farrell-Graham. Sorry, I've inhaled a biscuit crumb. I'm a Blue Badge tourist guide for the Southeast and also for Salisbury. And if any interest to people who are organising WIs and things like that, I also do talks via Zoom. So nothing like a little publicity. If you just Google me, you'll find my website.
Thank you, Frances. Very, very nice. Anybody else? Got a few more people still coming
Jeff
in.
Allen from Trevelyan Travel and Events based in Hampshire. Good morning, everybody.
Morning, Jeff.
Good morning. Nice to see you again. Do we have anybody new on the call this morning?
Yes.
Yes, I'm here, Lynn Wilson from Solent Events and Leisure.
Hi, Lynn. Nice to meet you. I think Mike was on the call as well. I don't think we've got any sound for Mike. Two more. Well, we had 70 plus people registered for this call, so I just wanted to give everybody a few more seconds to get on. But we are on day 4, session number 7, which is great, and we've still got lots of you. So thank you for staying with us, and we're pleased to hear through the feedback so far that these have been useful. And I apologise to those of you that we have heard this all before, but you know, we were really pleased because we couldn't have excursions face to face this year. We really wanted to do something to support the industry who's been working so hard behind the scenes. So we managed to pull this together. It's new for everyone, and work with our destinations and our partners, tour creators, attractions to bring this together. We wanted to inspire and connect you over the course of this week until such times as we can all meet again. So today and this morning we have with us the team from Visit Wiltshire on the Great West Way. So we're all going to speak to all of those shortly. Just a few bits of housekeeping first of all. Could I ask you to mute in the bottom left-hand corner of your screen? And there is a chat box at the bottom. Along the bar at the bottom, there is a button that says chat. That will bring up a panel on the right-hand side. If you want to ask a question, you can pop it in there. Karen is going to facilitate the Q&A at the end. So I'll hand over to her in just one moment to explain how that will work. And then also just a reminder, this is being recorded. So you will only be recorded if you speak, but on the and what we record afterwards. So don't worry about that. If you're not comfortable with that, then please do put stop video in the bottom left-hand corner. At the end of this session, I am going to ask, if you're brave enough and you want to stay on the call, I would love to do a little bit of video footage from you as group organisers to say how you found these virtual familiarisation sessions. As with everything in the virtual world now, we're trying to create a little post-event video. So if you're willing to stay on the call, then please do stay on, and we'll just have a little bit of a chat before we end. So after I've said goodbye, don't go anywhere, basically. Okay, thank you very much. Over to Karen.
Good morning, everybody. And once again, it's lovely to see all these familiar faces. And after over 30 years of being involved with excursions as either the organiser or an exhibitor, I'm pleased we've been able to do this. And I've also worked on the Great West Way programme, so it's fantastic to see Wiltshire on the Great West Way this morning. For those who have just joined, you can ask questions through the chat box and at the bottom panel, and these will be answered in the Q&A section. You can do this throughout the presentations, and if you would like to ask a question yourself, just write in the chat box and we will ask you to unmute and ask your question. So I hope it all goes well and enjoy this session, and over to Fiona and Flo and their partners at Visit Wiltshire.
Hi, I'll start off because I'm going to be sharing the screen and doing the presentation. So it's fantastic to see so many people here that are interested in finding out about Wiltshire on the Great West Way. I'm Fiona Errington, so I work for Visit Wiltshire, Great West Way. We've got my colleague Flo, who I'm sure you all know, and then we've got Belinda from Marlborough, William and Alex from Iford Manor, and Roy, I can't see Roy from Bridge Tea Rooms, and also hopefully Christoph is managing to join us from the Old Bell.
He's here.
Oh, he is here. I can't see everyone. So I'm going to share my screen and get the presentation up, hopefully. Can everybody see that? Yeah, okay. So as I said, we're going to be talking about the Wiltshire part of the Great West Way, and to get you going, I'm going to play a video just to get you sort of in the feel of it. So let's excellent. Right, so as you can see, the video was promoting the good to go icon that all the attractions and businesses have. It's something that we produced after the first lockdown, and so obviously at the moment we're not good to go because everything's shut, but it's to use as and when things open up, and highlighting, you know, the Wiltshire area on the Great West Way. So what I've got on the screen now is a map of the Great West Way. So it runs all the way from London to Bristol, and Wiltshire is a quarter of the route, and that's what we're going to be talking about today. There's lots of lovely market towns that Flo will talk about, lots of attractions, you know, in Wiltshire that are on the Great West Way, some of the big ones such as Stonehenge and Longley, and then we've got some smaller ones. I mean, Iford Manor here today. Beautiful gardens. There's lots of beautiful gardens along the Great West Way. Obviously, outside of Wiltshire, we've got Bath and Bristol at one end, and then the other end, sort of Hungerford, Royal Borough of Windsor, Maidenhead, and then Richmond going on into London. At the bottom of the map, you can see our multimodal icons. So the idea of the Great West Way is that it's not just about driving it. You can cycle it if you're energetic, you can walk it, you can travel on a boat. We've got the River Thames and the Avon Canal. You can drive it, you can go on the train. We've got the largest integrated rail and bus pass with GWR, the Great West Way Discoverer Pass. So that connects bus routes and train routes. You can obviously go on a coach trip. motorbike, and even if you're feeling brave, a hot air balloon. But I'm not sure there's many people that do that. But of course, Bristol does have the hot air balloon festival. Okay, so why choose England's Great West Way? It's a touring route, and the idea around the Great West Way is all about getting off the beaten track. So, for instance, in Wiltshire, you know, everybody knows Stonehenge and everybody wants to go to Stonehenge, and we've got Stonehenge there. But it's for curious travellers that want to find out more about smaller places and delve deeper and uncover the essence of England. And then, you know, what is the Great West Way like? I've kind of already touched on this. We've got all the big icons, Bath, Windsor, the Cotswolds and Stonehenge. There's different ways to travel it, so it gives you a lot of variety. And then there's, you know, the extraordinary variety of English experiences that you can't find in other parts of the country. We've got lots of different themes that will interest a lot of your groups: history and heritage, food and drink, waterways. We're just producing a Kennet and Avon map, so that's quite exciting. Cities and culture, lots of gardens, local people that will come and talk to you about the Great West Way. If you can look on our website, we've got lots of vox pops from local people talking about the Great West Way. And then there's lots of sport and adventure. Right, so I think now I'm going to hand over to Flo. I think this is the right point. Yeah, okay.
Hi everybody, thanks for joining us today. As Fiona's just explained, there are a number of Wiltshire destinations along the Great West Way that we work very closely with, and they're fascinating places to visit. They're excellent stopping off points for coaches or groups to enjoy. So I was just going to talk a little bit about each one. We've got Bradford on Avon, so it's got a 14th century type barn, Anglo-Saxon church, and it's situated along the Kennet and Avon Canal. You're going to hear from Roy shortly at the Bridge Tea Rooms, which is situated in Bradford, but there are guides that do tours around the town, and it's a fabulous place to enjoy en route if you're heading towards Bath or away from, so either end. We've got Cairn, which is the place of discovery and invention, with the Wiltshire cure, which was the technique of curing ham and bacon, which was invented here, and also the discovery of oxygen at Bowood House. So that's in the area. In Chippenham, there's a wealth of historic buildings, beautifully maintained parks and shopping centre. Trowbridge is a vibrant town with ancient roots and a unique industrial heritage. In the 13th century, it was headquarters to a Magna Carta Baron, which was one of the 25 who forced King John to sign the Great Charter at Runnymede in 1215. So, and it's a great place to visit. There's, the museum is there as well, Trowbridge Museum. If you visit Corsham, you can follow in the footsteps of Poldark. So it was where the Poldark, some of the Poldark series were filmed there, and they still have images and video in an exhibition you can see in the town hall if you book in your group visit to Corsham. They also have free roaming peacocks in the village, so look out for those if you're visiting. Devizes has a rich heritage of Georgian houses, and it's well known, as you probably are aware, for the sort of Wadworth Brewery, which you can see in that picture, and also for its flight of 29 locks at Cairn Hill on the Kennet and Avon Canal. So if you fancy a trip on the canal, I would suggest you go one way or the other, but it would take you all day to go through the locks in Devizes. But it's an amazing place to see all the boats coming through and to go for a walk. In Malmesbury, you've got it is a rich history of England's oldest borough, stunning 12th century abbey and the original market cross. Christoph a bit later is going to talk to you about the Old Bell, which is situated in Malmesbury. Then you've got Pewsey, which is a walking and exploring landscape, pretty and unspoilt villages that form from the western end of the North Wessex Downs area of outstanding natural beauty. So it's a beautiful landscape to explore. And in Swindon, you've got the traditional sort of old town, which used to be a small market town, but now it's, with the arrival of the GWR in 1840, it led to great expansion and the creation of the town as you see it today. It's got a vast array of entertainment and leisure opportunities and great trade-friendly hotels in Swindon as well. And in Marlborough, it's off the Old Bath Road, and I'm going to pass over to Belinda, who's going to talk to you a little bit more about Marlborough now.
Thanks, Flo. Hello, everyone. I hope you can hear me. I'm here to tell you about lovely Marlborough, which, as you've seen, is right in the middle of the route, slap bang in the heart of the Great West Way. We have, from a practical point of view, we actually had the A4 passing right through our town, and from a practical point of view, we are well equipped to welcome both the independent traveller and the big groups. We were due to get coach-friendly status last year, and that was held over due to the pandemic. But happily now, we're just about set to go with that, thanks to our good dropping off and pick-up points on the high street. We also have room to park 3.5 coaches, well, 3 coaches and a minibus, right next to a tourist information point and good driver's restrooms, and the all-important loos. So we're well equipped. We're ready to go as and when we can. As to the town itself, for those of you who don't know it, it's very beautiful. It's pretty. It's historical. It's got cobbled streets, hidden alleyways. It's quintessentially English, which is what the Great West Way is really all about. We have an abundance of independent shops selling all sorts of things. We've got restaurants, sadly all shut at the moment, but we've got all sorts high-end, Rick Stein, right down to the old-fashioned Italian that's been there forever. We've got a lively coffee culture, we've got tea rooms, pubs, we've got 9 pubs, we're missing those terribly, but they'll come back one day. We've got, we can feed and drink, we can water you well there. We sit in an AONB, so we have the Ridgeway going all around us, which is great for the walking and cycling element of the whole Great West Way. We have lots of open spaces, which have been a great refuge and joy in the recent lockdowns, current one included. We have the Savernake Forest right almost in town, and this is an ancient, beautiful forest with trees, oak trees that are thousands of years old. We also have on our doorstep an abundance of heritage. We're 6 miles from Avebury, Silbury Hill, Westwoods. That got a lot of publicity last year, with the sarsen stones that they used for Stonehenge. That's just 4 miles out of town. West Kennet, Long Barrow, we have all sorts. The town itself, as I've said, is very, very much steeped in history. So we do actually have a new history tour, a guided tour, not running at the moment, but very quirky and unusual. We also have, the town is, the wide high street is bookended, as you can see in the picture, one by 2 lovely churches. We have a tour that goes up one of these churches, 139 steps, from which you get glorious views of the sweeping high street, and you also get a sneaky peek into Marlborough College, which not many people get to look at from the inside. So that's guided tours. I know self-guided tours are the way to go currently. We have a blue plaque tour, which you can do on your own. We also have a new tour of the Savernake Forest. It's 7 miles or 2 miles, depending on how energetic you feel. It's an oak trail tour. It's great. You can get lost, very lost on it, but it's good. And we have a lively program of events. Most exciting this year is our White Horse is going to be cleaned up in the spring, long overdue, but it's going to be shiny and new for when you all come and see us. We have a cinema opening in August. We have a literary festival in September, which we should be able to hold this year because I think they're making arrangements for it. And we have a brand new event, which is a Dark Skies Festival in October. So we have lots going on. We are COVID secure. Our traders have worked very, very hard on all of that. Whether you come and see us for just a cup of tea and a pee, or you stay overnight in our new Premier Inn, we would love to see you, and we would welcome you as soon as we can. Thank you.
Excellent, thanks Belinda. That gave us a good overview of Marlborough. this is just, we're now moving on to the places to visit along the Great West Way, and these are just some of the amazing attractions that we and experiences that you can experience if you plan a visit. So I'm just going to briefly go through them. Bowood House and Gardens, that you might be familiar with. They're usually open from Easter. They do exclusive guided tours, walled garden tours, house tours. It is worth saying that obviously as and when these places open, they almost certainly will have restrictions in place with COVID safe ways of operating. So everything that I'm going to tell you about to do with all these places, you may need to check directly with the sites regarding the COVID information that you might need prior to your visit. Yes, Bowood are very keen to welcome groups. Longleat, likewise, they've always had a very faithful groups market. As you're probably familiar, they have had amazing events. The Festival of Light, I understand, will be returning for 2021, and there's a range of other events that they've got planned probably from the sort of summer onwards, so do check out details on that. They have previously done group tours of the house, but at the moment Longleat House has remained closed, and again watch this space with regard to as and when that will reopen. We're not clear on dates on that yet, but Longleat are very keen to open it, if only specifically for groups. So they've previously done scandalous history tours, behind the scene tours and things, so keep an eye out for that. Salisbury Cathedral is obviously a magnificent medieval cathedral, and situated in this beautiful city of Salisbury that does offer a vast array of other things to do, including shopping and accommodation as well. Slightly off the Great West Way, but we're quite happy if people do want to wander and detour off the route to visit Salisbury and Salisbury Cathedral. They also do specialist tours. They do a library tour, a graffiti tour, stonemasons tours, and if you're really energetic, they do the tower tours as well. The Marlborough College Summer School, this is open during the main summer season, and they have over 500 courses for adults and young people. So things like creative art courses, literature, history, science, body and mind. So do have a look at their information. They have a huge amount on offer. But if you just fancy a sort of wander around the shopping in Swindon, you've got the fabulous MacArthur Glen Designer Outlet, where they do very good group discount vouchers for that. And you'll probably be familiar with a range of National Trust properties that we have in and around the region. The Great Iford Manor has been used as a filming location for Poldark and Wharf Hall. Stourhead, the 18th century landscape garden with lakeside walks and grottos and temples, amazing. Plus the house, Stourhead House, which is a Palladian mansion. They've got amazing library and a beautiful art collection. Montpesson House, Queen Anne Townhouse in the heart of Salisbury's Cathedral Close. Avebury, which Belinda just mentioned, very near Marlborough. So there's the amazing Stone Circle and Avebury Manor. Of course, there's some English heritage properties as well. Stonehenge, Old Sarum, Old Wardour Castle. And then we continue with Salisbury Museum, which again is in the Cathedral Close. It's also part of the Wessex Museum collection in conjunction with the Wiltshire Museum. For 2022, they have a Thomas Hardy exhibition going in from the sort of end of May to the end of October. We're working quite closely with the Wessex Museums Group, and they're finding out about, if you're interested in literary tours or information, then you must pencil that one in your diary. The Wiltshire Museum is situated in Devizes and has prehistoric galleries, and obviously both of those museums are also linked to the Stonehenge and Avebury World Heritage Site. We've also got Laycock, which is obviously well known for its filming locations of Harry Potter and Downton Abbey, Cranford, White Princess. If you fancy something a bit sort of animal focused, you've got Cholderton Rare Breeds Farm, who are now doing alpaca walking tours, as well as the Bluestone Vineyard, where they do guided vineyard tours. Studley Grange Butterfly World in Swindon is a great stop-off point with cafe, animals for you to explore as well. There's the Merchant's House, which is prosperous silk merchant, was rebuilt after the fire in 1653. Amazing, beautiful house to explore and have a guided tour around. That's in Marlborough. The Steam Museum at GWR, the story of the men and women who built and operated and travelled on the Great Western Railway. It's a great experience there. Lydiard House and Park, again in Swindon, beautiful Palladian house and worth a visit. And the Remy Museum, which is the Royal Electrical and Mechanical Engineers. They're doing some specialist tours there. That's in Lynham, and they are able to offer some behind the scenes tours and talks with their archives team. Then we move on to Iford Manor. So I'm going to pass over to William, who's going to give you a bit of information about Iford Manor Gardens.
Well, thanks, Flo, and greetings everybody from Iford Manor. We are at the other end of the county from Marlborough, just outside of Bath, really on the border, which curiously runs through my dining table. Iford is a very much a family home. Everything we do has a sort of family feel to it. We're in the middle of this beautiful rural idyll, which we manage and maintain under a higher level stewardship scheme. So it's very much a beautiful landscape, but it's also an award-winning, internationally acclaimed garden and a great place for a day out. So a quick bit of history. We go back to Roman times. We've had an industrial heritage through the Middle Ages, all part of that cloth industry that formed the wealth of Wiltshire at this end. And then in the Georgian times, it became really a home for a family, and they started terracing the gardens. But the grand show, so to speak, started when in 1899, Harold Peto arrived on his bicycle from the railway station at Bradford-on-Avon, his own Great West Way, you might say. And he was an Edwardian garden landscape architect. He'd worked with Jekyll and Lutyens, clients all over the world, and he was a great traveller. And so he collected ideas and artifacts, and he brought them back, and then this was his home, his dream, you might say. And it does transport you, a visit to Iford, in a way that I think many other gardens find difficult because of this extraordinary international sense. We've had groups visiting since 1911. We love welcoming people to Iford and giving them a tour and answering questions. We won the Little Treasures of Britain Award in 2017, so must be doing something right, which is nice. But it's really about learning from people as well. Whenever a group comes to Iford, we learn from them as much as we teach. I'd like to think there's something for everyone. There's obviously architecture and landscape design. We have a number of universities who use Iford as a part of their course. They visit every year, Yale, Bath and others. Garden clubs, obviously with great interest for landscape design and plants. Antiquities, as I say, Peto was a great collector, not just of ideas and design, but of objects. And we do have effectively a museum-grade collection of his artifacts here, but they're presented in a way that doesn't feel like a museum. So you don't have that sort of immediate urge to sit down, which I get in every museum. So that's quite nice. What else? We've got photography groups, art groups. Lots of people want to come and paint, which, as I hope you can see from the images, is a nice place to be. We tend to welcome them on days when we're not open to the general public, because then that means they've got a free use of the space. Film tourism, as Flo's mentioned. At Iford, we've had recently The Secret Garden, Colin Firth filmed here. We had, for American groups, we've had some at Sanditon, which we saw on ITV and they saw on PBS. And of course, ultimately, botanic and horticultural interest would be the key group of people who are interested. So we often welcome WIs and horticulture clubs for a visit. Our head gardener, Troy Scott-Smith, was formerly at Sissinghurst, cut his 25-year career as a head gardener with the National Trust, and has now come to us to help work on our development of really the garden as we go forward. It's an exciting time. Borders need redesigning. There's some planting that needs to be refreshed after 100 years. there's restoration work going on, and then there are woodland walks to open up and the rest of it. So there's a lot going on at Iford. And of course, outside of the garden, there are events as well. We do a festival of music in the summer. That's hopefully returning in some form this year. So, you know, I think one of the good ideas about gardens this year is that it's unlikely to be affected by lockdown. I mean, gardens actually are able to open even now. So, not that anyone wants to visit us in January, but nevertheless. So I think it's quite a sort of resilient sector, which is good. Maybe it's something that we can consider a sort of solid bet. So what does a visit to Iford feel like? Well, a coach visit or a group visit in cars feels like we start with a personal greeting by me or my wife Marianne or Troy, our head gardener, not on the bus. We want to get everyone off the bus, through the comfort station, as it were, and then out onto the bridge where we're into the environment and you get a sense of Iford. Quarter of an hour introduction sets the scene, or we can set off on a guided tour. This year we'll have audio guides as well, which is a sort of COVID secure measure to allow us to give people the effect of a guided tour, even if we're not allowed to do it in person. And then we also do private visits out of hours. In fact, we love groups to come out of hours because you can get the place to yourself, which I think makes so much of a difference when you haven't got everyone else in your photograph. We might go and visit the walled garden. That's a private area we don't open to the public, but we do for groups. It's where we bring on plants and lots of that sort of thing, and then over to the new restaurant cafe for a cream tea, coffee, biscuits, lunch, whatever, or even in the evening, a glass of champagne on the terrace. So that's really, I hope, gives you a feel. It's very relaxed, it's very family, it's very personal. I like to make sure people leave refreshed, renewed, invigorated, inspired. That's what Iford does for people, and we look forward to visiting and welcoming you in 2021-22. Thank you all.
Thanks, William. We're just moving on to the places to stay. So the accommodation that we have along the route. We've got the Red Lion Hotel in Salisbury, which is Europe's oldest purpose-built hotel, which housed the stonemasons of the cathedral back in the 13th century with around 60 rooms. The Stonehenge campsite and glamping pods. So this is a fabulous site, very, very near Stonehenge, which offers a selection of basic glamping to a bit of luxury. So you can see in the picture, there's a pod there. So if you fancy that, you can sleep in one of those, or a glamping pod, or one of the new yurts that they have as well. And they do run a summer solstice festival, which is sort of 4 days over the solstice period in June every year. The Holiday Inn Salisbury Stonehenge, you may be familiar with. It's a very trade-focused hotel along the A303, Amesbury. It's a modern, group-friendly hotel with 103 bedrooms. It's got a fabulous restaurant. It's also very useful for lunch stop-offs or dinner stop-offs, refreshment stops, because of where it is situated. The Legacy Rose and Crown Hotel in Salisbury has around 34 bedrooms. The actual building dates back to the 13th century, and it's got amazing views over the meadows towards Salisbury Cathedral. They do bespoke packages for groups, and they're very keen to encourage afternoon tea stop-offs. The Caboose is a new hotel. It's a very small B&B, actually, only with 8 bedrooms. But if there's a small group of you and you're wanting something different, it's a 1920s themed, inspired B&B. So it's very near the Salisbury railway station. So it's very convenient if you're travelling by train. The Stones Hotel is slightly on the outskirts of Salisbury, but it's a 44-bedroom rural retreat with a Marco Pierre White restaurant, which is relatively new. And now I'm going to pass over to the Old Bell Hotel at Malmesbury for Christoph to give you a bit of an update on that hotel.
Thank you very much, Flo. Good morning, everyone. So the Old Bell Hotel in Malmesbury, often referred as being the oldest hotel in England. The Old Bell was originally built in around 1210, just to give accommodation to the monks, architects and crusaders passing through Malmesbury, either to develop the town or to support the construction of the abbey. Some of you may know that the first king of England is also buried in Malmesbury, so that tells you really how far the town, or how old the town is. The Old Bell Hotel so was used for a dormitory, refectory for the monks, and then through the years it was kept as an inn, and then into a hotel around 1300, 1400. The true experience of the Old Bell Hotel is when you stay in the main house, which is a Grade 1 listed building. We've got 34 bedrooms, 19 of those are based in the main house throughout different room categories, from single to character all the way up to master. So as a group, we would definitely recommend people to stay with us in the main house. We can do groups from anywhere from 6 to 32 people. We have our own car park right at the back of the Old Bell that can accommodate at least 2 large coach. Over us, we've got a public car park right at the back of the Old Bell, which is about 1 minute walk, where you can have over access for parking. We are 5 miles from the M4, which is very convenient, especially if you do a tour from London all the way to Bristol. Malmesbury is on the way to the Great West Way. So it's very easy access for a day tour or a couple of day tour to actually come to Malmesbury, leave Malmesbury, and then go to a different tour after. Malmesbury itself has several things to offer. We are seconds walk from the Abbey, but also 1 minute walk from Abbey Garden, which has been renowned now for probably about 6 years in a row as being the best garden in the world, and it's absolutely amazing. In terms of food and beverage at the Old Bell, we have our chef, Jonathan, who's been with us now for 3 years. We tend to stick with English, classic British, with a touch of modern twist in it. But we have many great local producers around Malmesbury for cheese, meat, bread. We've got a winery also not very far. We've got our own ale called the Flying Monk, the Flying Monk being a German monk around 1220, 1225, who decided to test his flying skills and flew from the top of the Abbey, probably about 1.2 miles further to the Abbey. And so from there, we've got our own ale called the Flying Monk, which is definitely one thing to try. But in terms of food and beverage also, especially for group, you can use either a dining room on single tables, or we can accommodate also a large group in a new conference room called the Garden Room, where we can do group dining. Obviously, with COVID-19 now, it's a bit difficult, but hopefully when we reopen in March, April, we will be really allowed to welcome a group up to 30 people. We in the main house, so we've got 19 bedrooms. 3 of those are single, but the rest are from character to junior master, and most of our bedroom can actually be twins. So if your group decide to have twin rooms, then I think out of 19 bedroom we can do about 15 rooms where we can twin them. Okay. And contact at the Old Bell for groups. We have a dedicated team of 3 people who manages conference events, but group also. The booking system is super simple. There's only one email address to reach the person, and that is 7 days a week. So all our contact details are on our profile, which we have done now for excursion, but also the Great West Way. So we look forward to welcome you at the Old Bell very soon. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Christoph. Just our final product slides. We've got food, entertainment, transport and tours just to cover off here. All the suppliers that I've mentioned and that are on the call today are working really closely with us to target the trade, and they're really keen for trade business. So this is the reason we've highlighted them. The Swan at Stowford and the Stonehenge Inn and Carvery, part of Stonehenge Pub Group, it does some fabulous carvery, very quick in and out, pub stop off meals for groups. They're very good value as well. The Wyvern Theatre, they actually unfortunately have not been open this year, as you can appreciate, and we need to look at, you'll need to check as and when the theatres do reopen. But prior to the COVID pandemic, they were running backstage tea and tour packages. So again, look out for those if that's of interest for the future. Salisbury, Stonehenge and Sarum tours, they have driver guides and pickups, and they can do tours of some of the historical areas. Tinga is a new Mexican bar and restaurant that's opened in Salisbury, which is a fabulous immersive dining experience. And then finally, the Bridge Tea Rooms, Bradford-on-Avon, I've mentioned, former blacksmith's cottage. I won't do any more on that, but I'll pass over to Roy, who's going to tell you all about the Bridge Tea Room.
Hello, I hope everybody can hear me. Thank you very much for that introduction. The Bridge Tea Rooms, we've got a really good picture there, which sums up things really. It's a family-run business, an award-winning tea room based in Bradford-on-Avon, just outside Bath, in West Wiltshire, and just down the road from Iford Manor. So it would make a good combination for a tour. It was built in 1675, and for most of its life was just a normal house, and eventually converted into a tea room in 1989. We've actually owned it for 14 years, so since 2006. When you see the tea room itself, I think there's a picture there. It's fantastic on the outside, and you think, I hope it's good on the inside, because some of these buildings can be modernized on the inside, but when you get on the inside, it doesn't fail to impress. So since the first lockdown, I've been actually doing refurbishment and really making it into more of a Victorian style building. So we still retain the waitresses. I've actually got my daughter in the picture there. So it's nice Victorian style. It's got lovely pictures all over the place. We use fine bone china, all costumed waitresses. We've got Victorian harp music in the background, and we try and make sure it's the top quality that we can get, really good high quality afternoon teas. We can cater for about 40 guests, so we can do group bookings, and we can also do individual smaller groups as well, and we can cater for anything that you like or for the duration of your visit. So sometimes, for instance, if you have a full afternoon tea, it may people come in, spend a couple of hours, you might not have a couple of hours, so we've developed a range of afternoon teas where if it's a quick visit, if it's part of a tour, we can cater for that as well. So what we do best are the afternoon teas. Most of them are served on stands, well, apart from the cream tea. So we go from a cream tea to the full afternoon tea or high tea, and also champagne afternoon teas. We developed a range of sort of mid-range afternoon teas, so something called Prince Albert or the Empress of India, which really does is tailored for the group visit. So with, say, for instance, the Empress of India afternoon tea, it's served on stands. You get some, you get a scone with jam and cream, so some lovely Dorset cream and some Somerset jam, homemade scones. All our food is homemade, including the cakes. A lovely pot of loose leaf tea. We've got a range of about 30 different loose leaf teas and a selection of sandwiches. So that is a good example of a mid-range afternoon tea. We also have Prince Albert, where you can have the tea, the sandwiches, and also a slice of cake of your choice. So we've got those. We can prepare everything in advance. So if you do come in for your visit, basically you're sat down within 5 or 10 minutes, everything's served up. The prices range, we can tailor the prices from about £6 to £8 for a cream tea, going up to a mid-range would be around 15, and then for a full afternoon tea would be 20-ish. So we can always sort of negotiate on price, look at see what we can do depending on the size of your group. The location is, as I said, is just outside of Bath, about 9 miles, which you can reach. You can reach us either by car or train or coach tours. There is a large car park in Bradford and Avon where you can normally get parked, but it does also have about 5 or 6 spaces for coaches. If you want to make a booking, just give us a bell or send an email. We would expect to have payment in advance, and we can send an invoice as well. I think that's about it. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Roy. That's really exciting. I have eaten there and it is absolutely gorgeous. So yeah, definitely worth a visit. This is our Wiltshire highlights for 2021 and beyond, and I have mentioned some of these already, so I'll just skip over these quite quickly. Iford Manor Gardens, you've obviously heard all about, and particularly with their, they've got a new cafe opening this spring and the new audio tours, and obviously off the back of the Secret Garden filming this year, if you haven't considered it already. Whatley Manor Hotel and Spa, they've got new garden tours with afternoon tea. They do a fork to fork and a Michelin demonstration and taste. They also have a wellness package. Yeah, yoga and meditative garden walks. Cholderton, I mentioned about the outing experience there. And Marlborough College Summer School, their dates for this year are the 11th of July to the 7th of August. Some of their new courses. These include colour and landscape, painting in acrylics, other new courses they hold, even Inside the Mind of a Murderer you can study. Caboose, the new 1920s themed B&B in the heart of Salisbury, I've mentioned earlier, so check that one out. And the Stones Hotel's new Marco Pierre White restaurant, I've already mentioned that, plus the Wessex Museum's Thomas Hardy exhibitions. So give that a look. Yeah, there is a new Promenades travel operator has already put together a package to tour and experience the Thomas Hardy exhibitions. So if that's a particular of interest to you for 2022, you might want to look at the Promenades travel website for details. We've got a range of products that offer specialist tours, and I just wanted to flag some of these to you just to make sure that you look into them in a bit more detail. Again, I've already covered Beauwood's House. We've got Lucy Brown tours, garden tours. The Cathedral do the specialist there, but also, you know, ask places whether they offer anything specific for groups, because many of them will offer specialist tours and packages. I know the Rini Museum will tailor-make things for you. And you know, and don't forget, you can book via an intermediary. We work very closely with the Great West Way official tour operator program, and we have a range of bookable Great West Way programs already on our website that have been created by these partnerships. So have a look at those through our travel trade URL, greatwestway.co.uk/travel trade, and then it's the bookable product. Our Time for Wiltshire Travel Trade Guide is a Bible of information, really, for you to get everything you need about what Wiltshire has to offer. This will include details on the bookable tours, the itineraries, group offers, benefits for group leaders and coach drivers, group-friendly refreshment stops and places to stay. We're redoing the travel trade guide for Wiltshire at the moment, and we're also redoing our Great West Way travel trade directory at the moment. So we're updating all the content on there. Those two publications will be digital publications for the future. At the moment, until we need to print, but they are being updated, and we will distribute those through our e-newsletter. If you're not already on our e-newsletter, please do drop me an email or go to the website where you can sign up. I'm more than happy to our distribution list so you can get the latest information about Wiltshire and the Great West Way. Are there any questions? Over to Karen or Elaine.
Thank you very, very much for that. That was fantastic. I think even if you're quite familiar with destinations, you never fail to learn something new on these. It's quite exciting to see that we can bring this together, and I think you get a deeper level of time to explore the areas in these virtual ways. So we're really pleased. So there's been some questions in the slides, so I'm going to hand over to Karen to facilitate that, and if you've got any more questions, start popping them in the chat.
Thanks, Elaine. Before I go into the questions, the last live group fam trip that I undertook was for the Great West Way. So a lot of the places you've heard about today and seen, we covered. And I want to say that the exceptional welcome we had from the Old Bell Hotel and what Malmesbury has to offer, I was really surprised at. It certainly opened my eyes to what we have and certainly what's on in Wiltshire on the Great West Way. So make sure you add this to your itineraries. But going back to the questions, so we've had some good questions. Some we've sort of covered as we've gone through, but I will raise them. So Linda Knock had asked about single rooms for groups. And I think this is something we perhaps need to ask all our destinations to put together information on accommodation that will, and the sorts of packages they can do for single rooms. William, there was one for you at Iford, and you've answered that, which was the capacity for groups. Oh, I don't know that you did actually.
Yeah. So we can take
refreshments.
Yeah, we can take one big coach at a time. We don't like to crowd the place at all, but in fact we have managed 2 coaches at once. There's a Brightwater Holidays comes to us every year, and they bring 2 coaches together, and we've always managed to make that work. But we don't like to crowd the place. I mean, one of the things about Iford is that it's small, and therefore it's more important that we give a good experience to people than that we crowd it and it becomes just another parade around a garden. That's not what this is at all. So, but do contact Alex, who you'll see with a nicer background than me, because you can work out how to do it, at Iford, and she will give you all the information and deal with everything you want.
Thank you. And Jeff Allen has also asked on that question, do you offer tours, refreshments such as ploughman's lunch or cream tea?
Iford will have its new cafe and restaurant open this year, so we'll be able to do lunch for the first time. Previously it's just been cream teas, and now we'll be able to offer you lunch or indeed an evening meal. We haven't quite worked out how that works yet, but the lunch we can do.
Thank you. We also, I think this one is for Fiona and Flo. Elizabeth Mountzer from Agto's asked about Longley. Apparently there's no group bookings to 2022. Who can they speak to?
I'll answer that. Yeah, I mean, Longleat are going through a number of changes at the moment. They're very aware that there's a demand for the groups market. I can't control their opening details. They obviously are a little bit limited with regard to opening for groups within the house. I know there is a definite delay on getting Longleat House open for groups. However, I think if your plans are to visit the safari park and some of the attractions, then you know, that is likely to be feasible during 2020. Again, the detail as to when that will be, I meant. The groups booking live, groups at longleat.co.uk if you want to email them. If you are keen to have a more detailed conversation with them and you're not getting anywhere, please drop me an email. I'll do what I can to facilitate a conversation between group organisers and Longleat, but I'm aware they are currently going through changes and making those decisions internally. So I'll help if I can. Please drop me a line.
Thanks, Flo. And the other question we had on the chat was actually for Roy at Bridge Tea Rooms, which was about catering for groups for light lunches. And Roy has actually responded to say that light lunches of sandwiches and lunches are available depending on the group size. If anybody else has a question at the moment, if you'd like to unmute yourself and ask it, that would be great.
I unmute
No? Okay, I'll hand back to Elaine. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, everyone. Another great session. Right, I just wanted to run through a couple of things there in addition to that, my usual end patter, really. We have on the website, the things we've spoken about, we do have the exhibitor's profile section, which is available to view all week. And if I use the Bridge Tea Rooms as an example, you can find them down here, and then they have a profile, and on there you can download their brochure, you can make an inquiry, or you can request information by post. If you were to make an inquiry or information by post, you fill in the form once, and then you can select multiple exhibitors, so it's not something you have to do every time that you want to you know, you don't have to do it lots and lots of times. We're trying to make it easy for you. So that's quite useful. There's 75 profiles on there to explore, including all of those from the Visit Wiltshire team. We also have our e-newsletters, and this, as you know, is being recorded and will be downloaded, uploaded and added to the e-newsletter, which is going to go out later today. So if you have opted in, then you will receive that. And later on at the end on Saturday, we will be selling some more information about our new venue for 2022. We will be moving to Twickenham Stadium, which is very exciting. We've enjoyed being at Alexandra Palace for many years, but I think it's time for a change, time for something fresh, and we're excited to go there. So we hope we will be able to see many of you in the flesh then. So thank you once again for everyone. Thank you to the Visit Wiltshire team. And we hope to see some of you this afternoon on the Portsmouth one. But many thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye.
you.